Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to another video on this channel. Thank you so much for tuning into this one. If you saw any of my other last videos, I promise you that this one is going to be nothing like that. So if you're looking for a quick laugh or a quick little buzz, this is not the video for you. If you read the title, then you would know exactly why you're on this. Now, I know my other videos were kind of a little bit stupid, a little funny. You know, you probably got a quick laugh for, a few minutes. But quite frankly, I want to have and leave a better impact on the fitness community. I would love to give you information that you can apply and take on to your day-to-day life and, really actually apply them into your life and make sure that what I'm saying you can take and actually do something with it, as opposed to just getting a quick 15-minute laugh and clicking off my video. Now, that's all great, if you do that and that's your thing, by all means. However, like I said, my goals have been switching a little bit more, and I would just like to be more influential and a little bit more positive to this space. With that being said, as you read in the title, this video is going to be geared and dedicated towards, kind of fat loss. Now, discretion, I'm not a nutritionist. I am not a licensed trainer, fitness trainer, or anything like that. But, I do have experience with, being overweight, very, very overweight, and kind of being able to combat that with what I've been able to learn through other YouTube videos and other people who are willing to share information. And if I can just help one person in that aspect of their life, then quite frankly, these videos are more than meaningful to me. Now, with that being said, I feel as if now is a great time to get straight to the video. Let's sip on a little calf and get going. Quite frankly, when it comes to losing weight, it's all in the diet. Every single thing comes back down to diet. There's a lot of people that, say, oh, I just want to eat healthier. I just want to eat a little bit cleaner. I'm not too really focused on how my diet is or how I don't want to count my calories. And to me, it's just kind of like, well, you're not really ready to commit to this goal, because this really is what it takes. As somebody who used to look like this, I'll pop a picture up here somewhere. Now I'm looking like this, or I'll probably put an after picture up here somewhere. I understood that all it took was for me to count my calories. Now, what does that exactly mean? Okay, and first things first, we have to break down what a calorie even is. You have to look and understand that calories are energy. And when you can really see it in that way, your dynamic completely changes. All right, so before I explain why your dynamic would change completely, first of all, we have to explain what a calorie is. And I would like to read actually first what it says online. A unit of energy often used to express nutritional value of foods. So there it is. What is calories? What are calories? Energy. And if food has calories, or calories make up food, or food make up calories, whichever way you look at it, then food is energy. And that right there alone should already completely change the way you look at food. Because instead of looking at food as something that's gonna, curb a certain craving, or that's gonna curb your appetite, or that's just, your body, your stomach hurts and you feel like you need to eat something, now you understand that food, no, in reality, is what keeps you going. Food is what dictates how you're gonna feel throughout the day. Why? Because food is energy. Now, what happens when you're putting in a lot of energy into your body, a lot of energy, but you're not expending that energy? What starts to happen? What starts to take place? Well, your body will start to store this energy, and it does that in the form of storing fat. This is why somebody who is overeating food, you could be eating extremely healthy, but if you have an addiction with eating and you're just consuming, but you're not expending this energy, you're not using this energy, you're just gonna keep on getting bigger and fatter and fatter and fatter. Now, it takes 3,500 calories to equal 1 pound of fat. So if you're overeating by, let's say, 1,000 calories a day, which is very, very easy to do, it's only a matter of time that you're gonna look at the scale and be like, what the heck just happened? Overeating 1,000 calories every single day only takes about 3.5 days for you to gain 1 pound of fat. And it's not the same way when you're trying to lose it, because quite frankly, you can really only lose about 1 to 2 pounds of fat a week. And that's on the very, very high side. That's very, very much like pushing it. Now that you kind of have an idea of what calories are, now let me explain to you what make up calories. Now, obviously food, calories. So what makes up food? Protein, carbs, and fats. These are the three components that come to making up food, that comes to making up calories. Now, how does that work? Each gram of fat, each gram of carbs, and each gram of protein has a certain set number of calories. And this goes for any type of protein, any type of carb, or any type of fats. Proteins have 4 calories per gram, carbs have 4 calories per gram, and fats have 9 calories per gram. So when somebody gets on a diet, they'll either want to eliminate carbs completely, or they want to eliminate fats completely, or they raise their proteins all the way through the roof. And it's kind of like all you have to do is just find a balance and find what really works for you. Now, what I found works for most people that are trying to lose weight is balancing your diet something like this, where it's on a 30-40-30. 30% is coming from carbs, 40% of your diet is going to be coming from proteins, and 30% of that is also going to be coming from fats. Now, kind of how does this right here work? It's going to be somewhere up here on the screen, but I want you guys to follow along. I'm going to be on my phone, but I want you guys to follow along up here, okay? So now, let's say we're going to have a mock-up name. Name is Bob. We have Bob here, okay? He's coming in, and on a daily basis, between his basal metabolic rate, which means how many calories his body is burning by just living, as well as how many calories he's expending, outside activities, working or playing out with, his kids or whatever it is he's doing, he's burning calories. We're going to assume that Bob, a day, is expending 3,000 energies, right? 3,000 calories, okay? So what's going to happen to Bob's body if he only eats 2,500 calories? His body is going to be in a deficit of 500 calories, okay? So he's going to have these 500 calories. Where's his energy going to come from? This is going to start tapping into his fat stores. Now, I could break down a whole video on how certain types of cardios and certain types of workouts, will end up burning more glycogen than actually fat, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother video. This is just simply down to the basics, okay? Again, Bob is burning 3,000 calories a day, but he's only consuming 2,500 calories, burning 3,000 units of energy, but he's only eating 2,500 units of energy. So what does this mean? That Bob is continuously on a 500 calorie deficit day to day. Now, if you were paying attention and you saw that, or you heard that I mentioned that 1 pound of fat is equated to or equal to 3,500 calories. So what does this mean for Bob? This means that if Bob continues his calorie deficit of 500 calories per day, on a weekly basis, he will be losing 1 pound of fat. How does that work? Because on a weekly basis, if we do 500 calories a day times 7, it is equal to 3,500 calories. Alrighty, so as you can see, these are Bob's macro goals. He has 2,500 calories, of which 30% of that is going to be coming from carbs, 40% of that is going to be coming from proteins, and 30% of that is going to be coming from fats, okay? As I mentioned, carbs, protein, and fats all have a certain number of calories to them. So, how do we find out, in terms of calories, how much is coming only from carbs, only from proteins, and only from fats? All we have to do is use some quick math. We're going to take 188 grams for our carbs, and we're going to multiply that by 4 because, as I mentioned, 1 gram of fat is equal to 4 calories, and if we have 188 of them, and we want to find out how many calories are in all these 188, we have to multiply by 4. Simple math. That gives us 750, okay? So this means that 750 calories are going to be coming straight only from carbs. From protein, we have 250 grams. Same thing with protein. It has 4 calories per 1 gram of protein. So 250 times 4, obviously 1,000. So now we have 1,000 calories. So between our carbs and our proteins, we're eating 1,750 calories. Now, as I just did the math just a second ago, we saw that 30% of 2,500 is 750. So what does this mean? That our fats have to also equal 750 calories. And just to do the math, we're going to do 83 times 9. That's going to give us 750. It really gives us 747. But obviously, if I were to add an extra gram of fat to that, it would put us above our goal because each gram of fat has 9 calories. And 747 plus 9 is a little bit more above 750. So 1 gram above or 1 gram below, it doesn't make the end of the world difference. But now let's add everything up together. So 750 plus 750 plus 1,000, sure enough, comes out to 2,500 calories. So as you can see, for carbs alone, it's 750 calories. Proteins alone is 1,000 calories. Fats alone is 750. Now there's one thing that I would really like to point out. A lot of people, they say, oh my goodness, fats are bad. Fats are so bad for you in your diet. They're like the worst thing that you can have. This is all coming from a state of ignorance to food. Because as you can see here, all we're doing is just weighing things out and putting them into a perfect ratio that's going to help us lose the fat or off of our body. Eating fat doesn't mean that you're eating it and it's going straight into a freaking lump in your stomach. That's not what's going on at all. It's the overeating and the overconsuming of calories in general that equal the consumption or the accumulation of fat. However, I would like to point out something. As you can see, it takes a lot less grams of fat to equal the same amount of a lot more grams of carbs, okay? And this really could be the same thing for proteins too. And I say that because a lot of people, I feel like they just overeat on the fats, not even realizing they're doing it. And as you clearly saw, it takes a lot less fat consumption to equal more and more calories. Again, the stereotypical dynamic is that the more fats you have in your diet, the bigger you're going to get, the more fat you're going to store in your body. That is so far from the truth. Because as we mentioned in the way beginning, times of this video, is that you gain fat by overeating calories, okay? And this is just calories in general. This can be protein. If you're overeating in protein, you're gonna gain weight. If you're overeating in carbs, you're gonna gain weight. If you're overeating in fat, you're gonna gain weight. And if you're overeating in all three of them, you're gonna be fucking fat. Excuse my language, but that's just, it is what it is. I hope that kind of really was able to kind of clear the light on calories and how and why counting calories is so important for fat loss. Now here's the thing. Let's say somebody gave you this macro goal. How can you incorporate this over now to meals, to actually making food that is going to equal all of these numbers? Let me break that down now. The biggest reason why most people will hop on a diet and then they'll end up quitting it, 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line, really is because they overthink it on when it comes to what they have to eat, right? And really, it's just this, it all comes from a standpoint of ignorance, and it's nobody's fault. There's just, we don't get taught this kind of stuff in school. For instance, okay, somebody wants to eat chicken and rice. Let's say they want to have 6 ounces of chicken and they want to have 200 grams of rice. That's a very, very typical meal for somebody who's, for me, really, quite frankly, I'm gonna be frank, that's a very, very typical meal for me. Roughly about, I could say that roughly has about, if I can think correctly, about maybe 400 to 600 calories on the very, very high side, depending on what cut of chicken you're using, depending on a few different factors. But let's say about between 400 to 500 calories is what that meal would have. Now, this meal is including carbs and protein. There's really kind of no fats. Again, like as I mentioned, depending on what kind of cut of meat I'm using specifically. Well, in this case, chicken, right? Now, 500 calories that I'm consuming in that is the same 500 calories that I can consume eating half of a donut. What's gonna make me feel more full? What's gonna give me energy? And what's gonna make me feel better? Obviously, the chicken and the rice. It's not to mention, or it's not to say that eating that donut, eating those calories from that donut is not the same thing as eating, the same calories from the chicken and rice. Because calories are exactly the same no matter which way you look at them. But here's the thing. If I eat that donut, I'm gonna be starving again in the next hour or hour and a half. Then I have to go eat something else again. Then I have to go eat something else. And God forbid the other half of that donut's there, because I'm gonna eat that other half of the donut and within 5 minutes of me eating the first half. So if you eat the chicken and rice though, your body's gonna feel much, much better, not only after it gets processed through your body, but also, throughout the whole day. You're gonna probably be able to go 4 or 5 hours before you don't have to have your next meal again. And this is why what types of food you're eating is very important with weight loss. It's not to say though that you can't enjoy a nice, cheap meal, or you can't enjoy a nice, Sunday, evening walk with an ice cream, or all you have to do is just factor out your calories and play around with it. This is why knowing how to read a nutrition label is so important. I do want to mention that there are certain tools that you can use that make your life just 10 times easier. If you're still having trouble after this video reading a nutrition label, or you're still having trouble counting calories, there's an app that I'm going to recommend that you download, and it's called MyFitnessPal. Now, what this app allows you to do, if you haven't already used it, it's pretty well known, is that it allows you to input your goal, your calorie, your macros, all your macro goals onto the app, and then log your food from there. So let's say you're still trying this out. This is brand new to you, right? As you can see here on the MyFitnessPal, I have 2,500 calories up there, and I have all this space, I have all this space right here to log my food for throughout the day. Okay. So now let's say this, if you're using the app, for breakfast, I want to have 4 eggs, and I want to have some tortillas, or I want to have some, like something that goes with it. As you can see right here, I did 4. If it wants to focus up. As you can see right here, I did 4 scrambled eggs, and it gives you the carbs, the fats, and the proteins to that, okay? So when I go ahead and add that, it gets added onto the breakfast category. If you can see that, if it loads. And it puts in how many calories it is throughout my day. So as you can see, my goal is 2,500 calories. Interesting focuses. So you can see my goal is 2,500 calories, and the food that I just ate, the eggs, got added onto that. So that means that throughout for the day, I need to have another 2,250 calories, okay? And so you just keep on adding the food that you're eating throughout the day. Then you go down to where it says nutrition, and as you can see, it breaks down for you individually your protein, your carbs, your fats, and everything you're eating throughout the day. And it goes into sodium and what types of fats, trans fats, your cholesterol. And again, that's a whole nother video for a whole different time. But this app is by far one of the most helpful and the most useful, and I think something that'll really help you keep going and keep you consistent and this whole thing. One thing that I have failed to mention, I think, throughout this whole video is that, yeah, the diet is important. Yeah, the working out is important. It's all important. But the number one most important thing is staying consistent. You can watch this video and follow it for a whole week completely, and it'll have no effect to your life. But if you do it for 6 months, I promise you, your life will change dramatically. Most people who don't exactly know what they're doing will typically go out and ask for a helping hand, or hire a nutritionist, or hire a coach. And I would honestly say that it's something that I would really recommend. If you need help in this certain area of your life, hire a coach. I'm not saying do this for the rest of your life, but really having somebody that can lead you in the right direction for just 1 or 2 months can really drastically change, you as a person, your psychology, what the confidence that you would have to be able to, or the confidence that you wouldn't have to do this on your own, you now have because there's a coach that's there for you. Now, if you kind of need that and you're looking for that, and you would kind of perhaps take that opportunity, then you can just go ahead and hit me up on my Instagram, and we could definitely talk about possibly creating some sort of a meal plan for you, or a macro goal, depending how comfortable you are with counting calories. And I would definitely love to help as many people as I can out. I'll go ahead and leave all that link down below, all my contact information, so that if you are trying to reach out at me, I'm accessible for you. Now, with that being said, I really hope that I was able to shed some light on really the process of losing weight. Now, as I mentioned towards the beginning of the video, if you're on the thinner side and you're wanting to gain the weight, all you would have to do is just, clear certain numbers out, add certain numbers, just play with all the numbers to what'll equal what your goals are, right? In this case, we were talking about Bob, who was wanting to lose weight, and we kind of calculated that he would lose about 1 pound of fat per week if he stayed on his 500 calorie deficit. So for somebody, for you, let's say Bob was on the other spectrum and he wanted to gain weight and he's burning 3,000 calories. Obviously, he would have to eat more than that, which is what? 3,500, 3,200, 3,300, all depending on how rapid his weight gain would want to be. Well, alrighty guys, that pretty much does it for this whole entire video. I know it had nothing to do like my previous videos. This probably wasn't even really funny at all, but that wasn't my intention behind this video. It really was just to be informational as possible. And if you took something from it, all I ask is that you drop a like. I know I don't have too many other videos, so you know, I probably don't have your confidence yet to want to hit that subscribe button. But if you're wanting to see more like this, more like these videos, is going to be coming shortly. And so if I were you, I would do it. Make sure you're tapping that like button so that YouTube keeps on pushing me out, and leave a comment if you thought this video was informational for whatever reason. As I mentioned, all my social medias will be linked down below, as well as my contact information. And without further ado, thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.